Meeting is called to order. Mr. Doug Martin will lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Doug. All right, we'll need a roll call to determine if we have a quorum tonight.
Ron Fruit.
Here.
Karen Tepley.
Here.
Tom McCarthy.
Here.
Rachel Schultz. Here. Melanie Walters.
Here.
Douglas Martinick.
Here.
Steve Downs.
Here.
And Ryan Cairns notified us he would be absent.
Okay, so we've got a quorum. Was this meeting properly noticed?
It was.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Please review, and once the council is prepared to do so, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Mayor,
Yep.
item 12 about the Simons Complex Agreement needs to be removed.
Okay, item 12 will be removed tonight. Any other changes? Okay, hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve the revised agenda with item 12 removed.
So second.
Okay, Melanie got the motion and Rachel got the second. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That one's carried. The agenda is approved. Next up, approval of the minutes. Again, once the council's had a moment to review, we'll entertain a motion to approve. Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I move we approve the minutes.
Madam Clerk, did you get those?
Yep.
Have the motion and the second. Any discussion of the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Next up, City and Utility Department Head reports and concerns. We'll start on the right side of the room. Amanda Keller, what have you got for us tonight?
I have some fun updates for you really quick. Thank you. All right, so I've been working with various staff. Yeah. Oh. There we go. All right, I've been working with various staff to do some updates on the website. And so Darcy and I worked on, if you just take a stroll in the next week or two to look at the different areas. I'm just going to show you a few. Public Works, we broke that out into streets and to the Buildings and Grounds Division. And so adding in there, under that, the municipal airport information, the cemetery. I worked a test to update this page to make it more useful for community members and also improve the SEO, the searchability, the accessibility, and we've been working on also adding stuff instead of just PDFs, making it so that it's actually on pages. Again, that makes it so that it's searchable. So if somebody's looking for something about the city, they're going to be able to find it a lot easier. And so adding up different things that people ask about. So we've done a lot of work in here to clean this up and make it a lot more user-friendly for people. Different information that they would need, and kind of cleaning up some of those things. So again, I encourage you to look there, adding some images that reflect our forms. We actually moved that, even though it's Public Works forms, we've been working on some of the forms so that they're more accessible, creating some digital forms and also fillable forms. And then SOPs, standard operating procedures, where we're working between departments in order to make those processes flow a little bit better, and having our forms, like kind of explaining them a little bit more. One form that I do want to show you, just because we are working with, and this is the last thing I'll show you, I promise, Parks and Rec, urban deer hunting. People are already getting ready and geared up for deer hunting. And so Jody, Jenna, and I worked really hard on creating a whole new system for deer hunting, and so there's actually a digital form. They don't even have to, there was people who were taking off work to come down here, drive 3 hours to get their urban deer hunting, and then it was confusing and the process was kind of difficult, and so we cleaned it up and we created a form so they can just reply right there online. They can fill out all the forms, and it is responsive, so depending on once they get their stuff, it's going to change depending on what they need, so the form doesn't look huge, but they can choose their zones, their time, their place, so it's a lot more user-friendly. And so we're excited about all these new updates that we have.
Thank you, Amanda. Misty.
Mayor, I've been doing accounting and payroll for the last month. It's
Right.
been exciting.
Right.
Interdepartmental coordination, and then just the coordination in between all the departments, and how the administrator really coordinates all of that is pretty amazing.
Awesome, thank you for that. Oh, look at that, Darcy's dodging the microphone over there. All right, Mr. Glassbrenner.
Okay, on the economic development side, we are working with the Congressional Directed Spending Grant on 3 different projects right now, kind of are the highlight, the Lamont subdivision, Hive Drive, which is a collaborative project with the high school for stormwater lighting and sidewalks along Hive Drive, and a potential project on Jefferson Street that would help us improve the road and infrastructure and parking lots there. Panorama Estates, buildings 2 and 3, we did have a pre-construction meeting held about 2 weeks ago now, and the indicated dig time is probably about the beginning of September. Cobblestone Hotel, we were exchanging emails on the incentive that the council authorized at the last meeting they conducted. We are actively working on 3 CDI grants. Los Amigos, that one is closing down. We've made the final payment on it, but we do have final reporting to do. The Wild Honey Collective, that grant was awarded. We're still waiting for initial draw requests on that one. And we restarted conversations with the 80 German warehouse on a potential grant there. In Public Works, we've got, in Buildings and Grounds, we're working on the dugout donation and coordinating with the donor and looking at construction plans. We're conducting interviews for 2 open positions that we do have in Buildings and Grounds. One is for lead and one is for crew. We continue to coordinate with the airport on the airport master planning and runway improvement projects with the Bureau of Aeronautics. And just in general, we do have a lot of restructuring and reorganizing, for the purpose of efficiency and, looking at what appropriate, reanalyzing if we've got the appropriate equipment. Is it commercial? Is it good enough, built strong enough? Or are we wasting a lot of time with the equipment in the shop, that type of thing. So that's Buildings and Grounds. In the streets, we've got approximately 38 blocks will be done in early September. The street crew is working really hard right now to apply pre-improvement patch. So they're doing a lot of patchwork in the streets. We have had notices out to the public on that, but total is about 38 blocks. So that's going to be a big step up from what we've been doing in the past, which has been overlay, and we usually could only afford 10 to 12 blocks a year. With chip seal, we're able to afford in the 38 block range, so I think it's going to put us in a much better situation with road travel. That'll be much, more appreciated by the constituents. We're coordinating on parking lot replacement. Scott was able to get a grant for the fire department to redo the parking lot there next to the fire department. The city did authorize us to go ahead and replace our portion of that parking lot. So we're looking at blacktop removal on that early next week, and then hopefully newly constructed parking lot there the week after. The guys are always working on street cleaning, brush collection. We did hold a recent meeting with MSA Engineering. That was a meeting that was organized by the utilities, and we had a great meeting about future planning and the engineering costs associated with different projects that we might anticipate doing in the future. So those are updates.
Thank you, Jason. Mr. Scott Gall.
Good evening. In the utility world, performance reviews are done. That was the first time in my new role with the superintendents, the office, and the electric staff. That went really well. Learned quite a bit. In the electric, AMI installed is still going. We're about 1,400 meters of the 3,000 that we've got are installed. We continue to do overhead to underground conversion. I'm going to finish up hopefully making the DOT happy in front of Rockwell next month, I hope, if it gets dry enough. We're going to try to lower 7 primary wires in that ditch. And this week, all of our trucks are getting their annual inspection, the digger derricks and the aerials. In the wastewater, our trial with wet industry in town is going very well. I went down and met with them today. Their forecast is really strong. So we're in great shape as far as with our industries, at least one of them that has 2 plants here in town. So they're looking at, if the numbers make sense, they would at least stay on our system for a year. They want to get through each season to see how the fields open up and the high strength that's got to go to the fields. But it's very promising and a great revenue stream for the wastewater department. Also, we're going to be getting that pipe that's underneath the Pine River by North Park, hopefully done in the next month. We'll be hydro excavating in the park area by the campground and then north of the driveway going into North Park. So we're going to hopefully be doing that. We're getting some new hydro excavation tips hopefully this week, and we'll be working on that. The office, there's a new version of North Star that we're going to be doing some training next Wednesday, and WPPI has got all the license, so the new server should be going into what we're going to combine the city and the utility on one. So that's some good stuff there. And then in the water department, our new hire, Derek Fruit's doing really well. He's been taking 2 of the weekend checks. Steve put out 40 samples for lead and copper compliance, round 2. And we've got quite a few of them back. We're hoping those come back good and we won't have to do that anymore. Water main flushing will be done after the sampling is done. Like Jason said, we're looking at what capital projects together in 26 that we can maybe accomplish. Me and Steve attended a county meeting on Pine Valley, you might have heard about. They've got some issues down there with their water, and if we would be able to supply that facility. And that kind of went back to square one with an inspection, and they would invite us back when they knew more. So other than that, I think that's it, unless there's questions.
Thank you, sir. Ashley.
Yep, so that you're aware, we do have on our website as well as in other places an RFP for garbage services. So our garbage and recycling contract with Republic, formerly Town and Country Sanitation, does end at the end of this year, and so we will be soliciting proposals for a garbage and recycling service provider as well as at the landfill transfer station. So to continue what we're already doing, as well as for an analysis of the operations of Simons. That's the other RFP that we have posted. This is a result of the innovation planning grant that we received, so it's an analysis of how Simons is operating and if there are any alternative means of operation that would ensure a long-term sustainable Simons for the community. As Jason mentioned, finishing interviews for the open positions in Public Works. Department heads are beginning to work on their 2026 budget requests and finalizing annual performance evaluations. And lastly, I just want to take a moment to recognize our zoning administrator, Matt Williams, who has been incredibly flexible and a utility player for us. As you've heard with the open positions, we've needed help in buildings and grounds, and Matt has, for over the last month, he's been jumping in and helping us. He's been a critical asset in making sure that we're able to continue, getting things done, fields are mowed, etc. And so I just want to thank him for doing that and recognize that he has been a tremendous asset to us and has made the transition that we're going through a lot easier.
Thank you. Okay, next up. Mayor and Older Persons Committee, Commission, Board reports and comments and/or items to be discussed at a future meeting. Mr. Steve Downs.
Well, I was just wondering what the status of Panorama was, and how close we are to breaking ground. I think our last estimate I heard was breaking ground this month, and is that still going to happen?
Don't know for sure, but that is the expectation.
Okay. And then one other thing, Misty, your characterization of payroll is kind of dull. Might be objectionable to city employees.
We appreciate what she's doing.
Yes, we do.
Thanks, Steve. Doug?
That's it. Thank you.
I have nothing.
All right. Ms. Walters?
So we removed it from the agenda, but I just kind of want to give a little report on the Simons Recreation Complex Agreement. It was brought before Finance prior to this meeting. We discussed it. We identified a few things that were of concern to us that we'd like to have looked at. So Administrator Oliphant is going to reach out to the county and see if they would consider reinstating the city-county ad hoc committee to kind of work on just having some continued discussions on these concerns that we raised. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Rachel?
I have nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. McCarthy?
Nothing that I heard. Thank you.
All right. Karen Tepley?
Yes, from the library board, the circulation is up and partly due to the summer reading program, of which 237 children signed up, actually from 0 to 18 years of age. And with that, so all the events were well attended as well. Our director is also writing a local grant with CISA 3, as they are the fiscal agent for that reading program. So we want to keep that going. The board also revised our bylaws, and those were passed. Our parking lot has been completed with seal coating and restriped, so we're happy to see that looking very nice. We also have a couple bids out looking for outdoor signage for like digital signage for the library, so looking at doing that. And then later on this week, there will be a panel, library board panel, that will do the review for our director. And that's all I have for the library. And then this was mentioned at our special meeting, but we have an ad hoc committee for council rules, so we've been working hard on doing that. And we're going to be moving forward to take a look at committees, commissions, and boards. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thanks. Ron Fruit?
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Okay, let's see. Next up on the agenda, Treasurer's Report, which is in your packet. If you'd like to take a moment to review, if you have any questions, please ask them. Is there anything significant changed or updated that they need to be aware of?
No, I submitted everything in the packet. There's information in there as far as the year-to-date financial reports and that sort of thing. A couple resolutions coming up on the agenda tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions or want to talk financials?
Questions at all on the Treasurer's Report or the Utility Treasurer's Report?
I guess I could add that earlier today I did upload some new documents, so I'm sure you've seen them, but one is the preliminary treasurer's report as of July 31st for the cash balances. So that wasn't in the packet that was sent out last week, but I did get the bank statements and almost all of them and got them reconciled, waiting on the state pool. And then we did upload a new bills list today as well. I had it by Karen. There's another one.
Did you want to look at another copy of it?
No, it's
Okay.
just coming.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I just.
We're so excited that we got done like
Yeah, right, yeah,
minutes early.
right. Cool, thanks.
I was just in awe of the format of that, so I really didn't want to give it up.
Okay, next up, bills for approval, and while the council reviews the bills for approval, I'll read the following. The bills presented on this day, excluding any library fund invoices having been referred to the Finance and Budget Committee, and said committee having duly investigated and audited these bills, hereby make the following recommendation, that the city bills presented on this day be paid with the following adjustments and/or exceptions. No adjustments or exceptions are listed. It is signed by the members of the Finance Committee. Once you've read those, entertain a motion to pay the bills.
I'll just point out, if I may quickly, you'll notice that the bill listing looks a little bit different. That was a result of some feedback that we received at the last finance meeting, as well as internally, so that's been adjusted, and I hope that you all enjoy that viewing. As well as just a note that anything that's in gray in the bill listing was something that was added since the packet was originally submitted. So as Misty mentioned, she did receive some more information. So just note that if you looked at the packet earlier on, you won't have the things that are identified in gray.
And I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Motion from Ms. Tepley, is there a second? Second from Mr. Downs, I think. I'm not sure who won that. Mr. Downs, any further discussion of the bills? Okay, hearing none, we'll need a roll call.
Fruit,
Aye.
Tepley,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Martnick,
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Okay, next up, discussion and possible action items. Item 5, council rules draft. Karen, you want to take that?
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have an ad hoc committee, and certainly have been going over all of the rules with the help of Attorney Wendell. And at the last special meeting, it was all given out as a draft for all of council to take a look at it and make any changes or have any other comments. That's all. That's up for approval, or?
I don't know how many of you have actually reviewed that and feel comfortable with it, like ready to make a decision, or do you want to continue to look at it? Ron?
I've had a chance to review it. I have just a couple of thoughts, and one just a very small housekeeping, but under 2.03C, where it talks about, I'm wondering if it's missing the word officer, where it says the committee chair shall serve as the presiding of their committee meeting. But the one that I did think about was under vacancies of the council, and I thought that the procedure for electing the president of the council was very well documented, that there would be a presentation and that there would be a vote. But I guess personally, in some ways, I would like to see some thought when it comes time to fill a seat of an alder person, how that would be conducted. Would that be a secret ballot, or is that something where we're going to say it can't be Michael?
So secret ballots are only allowed for the election of officers within a body.
Okay.
So if we were appointing for a vacancy, that could not be a secret ballot.
Okay. So what we're doing now is what we must do.
Yes,
Okay.
for the voting part.
Okay. Those are my only comments, Mayor.
Thanks, Ron. Anyone else? Okay, Karen, you mentioned a little bit ago that the next step is to look at committees, commissions, boards, right?
Correct.
Okay. Do you want to do all of this, approve all of this when all of it's ready?
I think that would be advisable.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, then I guess my advice to all of you is to continue to review, and if you have points to make, questions to ask, talk to the folks on that committee, because they'd love to hear from you, I'm sure. Correct?
Yes, correct. So it would be either myself or Melanie Walters, or of course Attorney Wendell.
Yeah, exactly.
And Mr. Mayor, I would just reiterate, the next step is going to be reviewing the committee structure. Early on in my appointment, I undertook a review of the current committee structure for the city. There are a lot of people with strong feelings about various committees, commissions, boards. I highly encourage not only members of the council, other than the ad hoc rule committee, but members of the public who may serve on these bodies as well, to attend those meetings and weigh in. Certainly, there's information available, but I don't think that there's any substitute for the direct input from the people who actually do the work of the body. So again, those meetings will be published, and I highly recommend that if you have a strong feeling on the way that a committee, commission, or board should operate, you attend that in case you need to advocate for that position.
I'm sure that's great advice too, Michael, thank you. Anything further on the council rules draft? Okay. We'll move on to item 6, which is the next item is Finance Committee recommendations and action. Melanie Walters will be handling this today.
Yes, since Ryan's off living his best life. All right. Item 6, Resolution 2025-08, which is a resolution designating public depository and authorizing withdrawal of city monies. So this is a resolution that we actually should be looking at every year to update which banking institutions we're going to be depositing our money into, updating signature cards, account access, and then this one also needs to be done to make sure that all bank signature cards and files are updated. So again, we should be looking at this annually or if there's staff changes. So my motion would be to, well, do I have to waive the reading of this resolution?
Or I could read it.
Which would you prefer?
Doesn't make a difference to me personally, but I will read it if you guys want it on the record for the video. It's faster to just read it. Okay, let's do it. City of Richland Center Resolution 2025-08, a resolution designating public depositories and authorizing withdrawal of city monies. Whereas in the course of the City of Richland Center's business, it establishes relationships with various banks for the purposes including but not limited to depository of city funds, borrowing money, or making payments on bonds issued by the city, and now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Richland Center, Richland County, Wisconsin, that the following qualified public depositories under Chapter 34 of the Wisconsin statutes shall be and are hereby designated as public depositories for all public monies coming into the hands of the city treasurer: the People's Community Bank, Local Government Investment Pool, Community First Bank, Richland County Bank, Boyle Bank, Westby Co-op Credit Union. Be it further resolved that the withdrawal or disbursement from any one of the above shall be made in accordance with Section 66.0607 of the Wisconsin statutes, with all ordered checks signed by two people as designated in a resolution designating signers on city bank accounts. And be it further resolved that in lieu of one personal signature, one facsimile signature may be affixed on such ordered checks. And be it further resolved that the Common Council authorizes the investment of public monies within the terms established by law, acting to the best of its ability to ensure the safety of these funds, and adopted by the Common Council of the City of Richland Center on this 5th day of August 2025.
Thank you. So my motion would be to approve Resolution 2025-08, a resolution designating public depositories and authorizing withdrawal of city monies.
1 second. Read that. Established by law, acting by the best of its ability. Did you see it? Yeah. I think we have a typo. Right at the last, right above where it says adopted by the Common Council. What this reads word for word right now: be it further resolved that the Common Council authorizes the investment of public monies within the terms established by law, acting to the best of his ability. Whose ability?
Common Councils.
Well, but that's not a his.
So there.
There.
Okay, so we'll just rephrase.
Can I put in my motion that we just amend that language from his to their?
I don't know why not.
It doesn't even really need to
Oh,
happen, but
doesn't have
it
to be in
can't
the
hurt.
motion? Okay. I'll put that in my motion. We'll amend the language.
Okay, we have the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have the second. Is there discussion? Okay, hearing none, we need a roll call.
Sorry. Tepley,
Aye.
Martinek,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Fruit,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
All right, item 7, resolution 2025-09, a resolution designating signers on city bank accounts. So the resolution we just approved, that's designating our public depositories. Resolution 2025-09 is designating the signers on those accounts. Again, this is a resolution that should be reviewed annually or when there's staff changes. And this resolution needs to be done to update the bank signature cards and files. Did you want to read this one also, Mayor?
Sure. City of Richland Center Resolution 2025-09, a resolution designating signers on city bank accounts. Whereas in the course of the City of Richland Center's business, it establishes relationships with various banks for the purposes including, but not limited to, depository of city funds, borrowing money or making payments on bonds issued by the city. And whereas banks with whom the city does business normally require a city resolution designating which city officials are authorized to open bank accounts and to execute checks or other orders for payments of city funds. And whereas the city desires to designate certain city officials to open bank accounts and execute checks and other orders for payment of city funds, and now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Richland Center, Richland County, Wisconsin, resolves as follows. 1, as used in this resolution, the term bank shall mean any financial institution with whom pursuant to this resolution the city establishes a banking relationship. 2, the city's administrator and financial officer are hereby authorized to open or cause to be opened one or more accounts with a bank on such terms, conditions, and agreements as the bank may now or hereafter require, and to make any other agreements deemed advisable in regard to any of the foregoing. 3, that checks or other orders for payment, transfer, or withdrawal of any of the funds or other property of the city on deposit with a bank shall be binding on the city when signed manually or by use of a facsimile or mechanical signature or otherwise authorized by any 2 of the individuals listed below as authorized signers. And the bank is hereby authorized to pay and charge to the account of the city any such checks, drafts, or other orders so signing or otherwise authorized, including those payable to the individual order of the same person or persons signing otherwise authorizing the same, and including all those payable to the bank or to any other person for application or which are actually applied to the payment of any such indebtedness owing the bank from the persons who sign such checks, withdrawal orders, or otherwise authorize such withdrawals. Lawyer had to have written that. You had to have written that. Nobody writes like that. In particular, and not in limitation of foregoing, such persons may authorize payment, transfer, or withdrawal by oral or telephonic directions to the bank, complying with such rules and regulations relating to such authorization as the bank may communicate to the city from time to time. That city's mayor or administrator will certify to a bank the names and signatures, either actual or any form or forms of facsimile or mechanical signatures adopted by the person authorized to sign, of the authorized signers listed below, and shall from time to time hereafter, upon a change in the facts so certified, immediately certify to the bank the names and signatures, actual or facsimile, of the persons then authorized to sign or act. The bank shall be fully protected in relying on such certificates and on the obligation of the certifying officer set forth above to immediately certify. The bank, let's see, certify the bank any charge in facts so certified, and the bank shall be indemnified and saved harmless by the city from any claims, demands, expenses, loss, or damage resulting from or growing out of honoring or relying on the signature of other authority, whether or not properly used, and in the case of any facsimile signature, regardless of when or by whom or by what means such signature may have been made or fixed of any officer or person whose name and signature was so certified, or refusing to honor any signature or authorities not so certified. 5, that the holders of the following positions of the city are authorized to sign or act on behalf of the city, the mayor, the city administrator, the financial officer, the treasurer, and the clerk, adopted by the common council today's date. Go ahead now.
Phew, thank you.
That's a lot.
So my motion would be to approve Resolution 2025-09, which is a resolution designating signers on city bank accounts.
You have the motion, is there a second?
Second.
Doug got that one. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll need a roll call.
Fruit.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
Martinick.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Right. Item 8, request for additional funding for municipal building generator. I need to clarify something first, Ms. Oliphant. The dollar amount on this cover sheet is different than the one on finance that we approved at finance.
You are correct. This is carryover, so we should rely on the one from finance.
Thank you very much. All right, sorry about that. So at a previous meeting in July, we had, this had come up for discussion, that the city had replaced the generator and there was an additional cost to it because we ended up having a larger generator put in. At that time, we had directed Administrator Oliphant to have some additional discussions to kind of find out what happened. And if you don't mind, since you had those discussions, if you want to speak on that quickly.
Yes, so originally the generator, when we did the specifications, we relied upon load data that ultimately turned out to be incorrect. And so after Wallace Electric consulted with the building inspector, Tracy Johnson, Tracy had suggested that he thought perhaps this generator wasn't sized quite right. So then Wallace Electric reached back out to city utilities and got updated load calculation information. And so from that, they were able to determine that the specifications originally issued, they were too small, and so the generator needed to be increased in size. And so Wallace Electric did do that. They procured a larger generator that would service the entire building. And then, unfortunately, in the process, in obtaining that generator, which, based on what Scotty has shared, there was some time sensitivity to that. We just didn't have that return communication to the city to get, or the utility to get that approval for additional spending. Along with a larger size generator, it did require some additional upsizing of, I forget what it was. What was it, the gas line? And so those adjustments were made, and so as you're now aware, we do have an additional cost. The Utility Commission has already reviewed this and approved the additional spending. And so the city's remaining portion, at this time we've paid the full amount of what the original bid was, but the additional portion the city would be responsible for, if approved, is $4,083.52. This was unbudgeted, unexpected, and so the funding source would be unallocated contingency.
Thank you. So we discussed this at finance. Again, Ashley just gave the updated information that we were presented at finance. Unfortunately, it's different than the amount in your council packet. In fact, it's lower, so that's a good thing. So my motion would be to approve the additional expenditure of $4,083.52 for the purchase and installation of the generator at the municipal building, with the funds coming from the unallocated contingency fund.
All right, we have the motion from Ms. Walters. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Downs. Further discussion?
Just as a housekeeping note, after this meeting, I will take the cover sheet that's in the finance packet and upload it to the council packet in the event that you want to review this sometime in the future, so you have the accurate data in the packet.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll need a roll call, please.
Walters.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
Martinek.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
All right, item 9, contract with, excuse me, contract with Southwestern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission for GIS study. So the city was awarded a innovation planning grant in the amount of $34,559.73. That is for the evaluation of GIS services for the city and county. Some of the things that GIS services are currently used for, the utilities very heavily uses GIS services for mapping out water, storm sewer, electrical. We use GIS mapping for the cemetery. The county uses GIS mapping in their land information department. So this grant, there's no match to it. It is fully funded by the grant, and it will give us, it will help identify kind of more opportunities for resources that we can use, funding streams, shared software that we could use, just different things between the city and county in relation to GIS. So my motion would be to authorize the execution of a contract, which is in your packet, with Southwestern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission for a GIS study that is fully funded by the Innovation Planning Grant.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Walters. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Ms. Schultz. Is there discussion?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
The term of the contract says it's to commence on July 1st and terminate December 31st of 2025. So we've already lost a month of the contract. Can that be extended?
So Southwestern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission has already initiated some of it. So although we didn't have a contract in place and we're not formally obligated to them, they did reach out to both city and county staff to begin conversations about that, anticipating that this would likely be adopted.
Thank you.
Is there further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll need a roll call, please.
Martinek.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Item 10, streets request for crane repair. Public Works Director Glassbrenner brought this to Finance Committee. Cone Cranes had done a routine equipment inspection on the overhead crane that the Public Works Department has in the streets garage, and they identified that there is a wire rope on the crane that needs to be repaired, and that repair is considered urgent because of safety issues. So we discussed it at Finance, and my motion would be to approve the repair of the crane at the Public Works Streets Garage at a cost not to exceed $4,000. And the funding will come from the roadway and equipment repair fund.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Walters. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Mr. Fruit. Is there discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll need a roll call.
Tepley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Martinek.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Item 11, legal services contract renewal. So we currently have a legal services agreement with App Swain Law Office to provide the city with general legal services. That agreement is expiring in September of this year. There's really the only change that we were presented with to the contract is the hourly rate will be increasing from $150 an hour to $175 an hour. We did have discussions at the Personnel Committee. That does reflect current market conditions. Actually, it's better than current market conditions from when we looked. And so the estimated annual increase, depending on usage, because we utilize that contract kind of on an as-need basis, we figure between $5,000 and $10,000. We did look over our budget for the last few years of what we had spent on legal services. We don't feel that this is out of line. We've pretty much the last few years remained under budget in our legal services line item. So that considered, my motion would be to renew the legal services agreement with App Swain Law LLC with an updated attorney hourly rate of $175 an hour, and that agreement would be effective September 5th of 2025.
Okay, excellent. We have the motion from Ms. Walters. Is there a second?
I will second it.
Second from Mr. Mortnick. Is there discussion? Yes, sir.
So assuming the council passes it later, the only change that would need to be made to the contract is we would need to amend it to bring it in line with the independent contractor policy that's being contemplated tonight. So any of those amendments would be at your direction, so it shouldn't impact your contemplation of this agreement. I just wanted everyone to know that there are potentially changes coming to bring us in line with your policy.
Thank you, sir. Is there further discussion? Okay, we'll need a roll call.
Fruit.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Martnick.
Aye.
Walters. Aye. Schultz.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Okay, item 12 was removed, so item 13, tourism, streaming, advertising with Gray Media. And if you don't mind, Ms. Oliphant, are you able to speak? I feel you have a little, maybe Karen, you guys have a little more knowledge on this topic than I do.
Being chair of tourism.
No, I'm sorry, I was thinking it was Karen. It's you. Ron, thanks.
Gray Media is who we have used for advertising and primarily to the Milwaukee and Chicago areas. It's an expenditure that we have done annually. It was a part of our initial discussion at the beginning of the year and a part of what we felt was important to continue. That is where we are able to receive the statistics on our web traffic, which has been increasing regularly. And so it is the vote of the Tourism Commission to recommend that this continue, and that will be the last of our expenditures for Gray Media for this calendar year.
All right, so we also discussed this at Finance and forwarded on to Council. So my motion would be to approve the additional $5,000 expenditure for the continued streaming advertising with Gray Media, and the funding source would be the unallocated road tax revenue.
We have the motion from Ms. Walters. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Mr. Fruit. Is there discussion? Hearing none, we'll need a roll call, please.
Downs.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Martnick.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Okay, next up, Public Safety Committee recommendations and action. Mr. Ron Fruit.
The Phoenix Center has submitted a written request to the city clerk seeking to amend the premise description to include the adjacent parking lot for the purpose of permitting alcohol sales during summer outdoor concert events. The current description does not include the parking lot. It does include the patio. And so the Phoenix Center is asking that the parking lot be added. This has had the review of the clerk's office. Public safety met, and all three members agreed that this should be forwarded on to the entire council. So my motion would be to approve the amended premise description for Center Lanes LLC, doing business as the Phoenix Center, for their Class B beer and liquor license as presented.
Okay, we have the motion from Mr. Fruit. Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, I think 3 people answered that. I think that was, Karen, they're pointing at you and smiling. That'll be Ms. Tepley's second. Okay. My only question is, did Chief Jones have any input on this at all?
He did not
He's
have
not
any,
here.
I think I spoke with him earlier in the month when I was talking with Greg, and it was kind of a discussion, and we reviewed the state policy, their statutes and our ordinances, and discussed with him, and like went back and forth.
So he's aware of it and he was not opposed. That's what I'm
Yes.
looking for. Thank you. Okay, any further discussion?
I just have a quick question,
Yeah.
just for clarification. So, when they're asking for it to include the adjacent parking lot for summer concert events. So it's only going, is it going to be pretty much for when they're having concerts because or just you can stand out in the parking lot and drink a beer anytime you want?
So,
Well, I think, yeah, technically it would allow for that, but the intent, at least what the owner has described, is that it would be for these special events.
yeah, and in talking with Billy previously about this, because we've had discussions about the premise descriptions and trying to get the businesses to really incorporate all those areas and be mindful, because that is something that the police do look at, and they do have the outside patio. And they said it actually creates difficulty when people are taking their drinks out to the patio because they have to go through the parking lot area. And so it really helps to kind of cohesive that, but I know that the police know that that's gonna be something to be mindful of where people are at, and it would not preclude people from drinking in the parking lot. However, it might, if the police are there, they might be a little bit more eyeing to see where they're at, what's going on. So yes, the intention would be the events. It could add complexities, but it also resolves issues at the same time.
Okay. I'm asking because obviously the complexity is, you know, I'm thinking, well, what would then stop me to pull my car in the parking lot and just stand next to it? I don't even have to go in the building technically. Just, you know.
Well, their license would not be for you bringing something
Right.
to the parking lot. It would be if you had a drink and you came out into the parking lot. So hopefully you would not get into your car with the intentions to drive, because then the police would be able to get you.
Well, that's true. Their license would be for a drink that you purchased in the premises. But what if I pulled up and had a bottle next to me on the seat and dumped some in a cup and stood in the parking lot? Who's gonna know? It's not exactly black and white. There's some gray all over this. Okay. Okay. Further discussion?
Is this a permanent arrangement? When you make a premise change?
It would be their license.
Their license.
Do we have any other businesses that are like this with their license that includes their parking lot? I mean, I know we have businesses that have patios that you can be seated on.
So AD German Warehouse did just this year when they redid their, because they have to annually do their licenses and they can update their premise descriptions at that point where they can request it to be updated. So they're looking at creating a beer garden within that alleyway. And so they actually did include, I believe, their parking lot as well in their description. I know their alleyway is for sure, for the same, so that they can have events outside.
Okay, further discussions? All right, we're gonna do a roll call on this too.
Martinick,
Yeah. Yep.
Walters,
No.
Downs,
Aye.
Fruit,
Aye.
Tepley,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Okay, next up, Personnel Committee recommendations and action. Again, Melanie Walters.
Hello again. All right.
Ah.
Item 15, I got a little break in there. Item 15, independent contractor policy. So the policy is in your packet, and it was identified that we needed a policy for independent contractors that would be working with the city just to help with compliance for legal and financial and operational standards, and to, help protect the city and us as well. So I don't know if you guys had any opportunity to read it over. We did discuss this at length at the Personnel Committee. I believe you reviewed this or wrote it. Attorney Wendell did.
Reviewed.
So my motion would be to approve the independent contractor policy as it's presented in your packet.
Okay, we have the motion from Ms. Walters. Is there a second? Second from Mr. McCarthy. Is there discussion?
I have a procedural question. Is this a new policy?
Yes, currently the only thing that we have as a policy that really touches on independent contractors would be related to our financial policy in so much as that there's spending limits. So right now, as department heads, they contract with various entities for various things. And that could be from something as simple as mowing a certain area to like the contracts we talked about tonight, or even Michael, the attorney. So we don't have anything written down that talks about required documentation or even insurance limits. And so this policy is really to assist department heads when they're procuring those contracted services and ensuring they know what the minimum requirements are that they need, so that way we have W-9s and all of that stuff that we need, that Misty would need in her payroll and financial role, as well as making sure that we're obtaining certificates of insurance and all of that. So this just gives department heads the framework for what they need. It doesn't establish necessarily who they can contract with or for how much money they can contract with them for. That would be a separate thing, but this is just those basic minimal requirements.
And then just to follow up to that, when you have a new policy, does it just come to the council once and then it's just, it just starts the next day, or do you have a timeline?
That's up to you guys. So typically what has happened is that it would be presented to council, and if there were no concerns or need for changes, then it could be adopted and then effective immediately or at whatever date made sense. Otherwise, it can be, postponed, whatever you guys are comfortable with.
Thank you.
Further discussion?
Mayor, would this also include for the completion of services and dispute to get sign off from in the case of 8th Street issues going on that with the property owners, whether things were resolved or not. Would this include something from them that they were satisfied?
Like, for example, on that project, the agreement with the provider, it states that they will complete this correctly. And typically in that instance, the last payment to that provider is withheld until that has happened. Correct, Mr. Gold?
Yeah, it's retained till we all sign off and check off on it with streets, utilities. So we hold some of their money until everybody's happy.
As a protection to the property owners on the street. Yeah.
But to kind of that point, this does require that we have something in writing, right? So there is a contract established for that project, and anytime we would use a contractor, we would have something in writing, a contract in writing that has this information or these requirements captured within, so that way we meet those minimum requirements like I mentioned, but depending on the project or depending on the service, there's a lot of uniqueness that could be associated with that, where something like what you're concerned about would need to be captured in the actual contract.
Okay, you got it. Further discussion? Yes, Ron?
To Rachel's point then, Ashley, this moving forward would be with all new contractors that would be seeking a relationship to provide services for the city?
Absolutely. So the way that it's written right now is assuming that it would be adopted tonight. So it does say in there that the policy takes effect on 8/5/2025, and any engagements with contractors prior to this shall fall under whatever previous policies or agreements were in place, but anything that we newly establish has to adhere to this.
We'll be adhering to the new policy if you end up adopting it despite our grandfathering, because you renewed our contract earlier.
All right. Ron, did that answer your question?
It did.
Further discussion? All right. Okay, let's have a roll call, please.
Schultz.
Aye.
Martinik.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
All right, next up, Planning Commission recommendations and action. So the council president is not here, and I cannot lead this discussion because we will be discussing the conditional use permit for a project my wife wants to complete in our backyard. So the other member of the Planning Commission serving on the council is Madam Tepley. Karen, you get to drive for this one. What I'm going to do is hand this picture to Mr. Downs and ask you to pass it down so people can see the structure we're discussing, okay?
Yeah, so in your packet, you do have a staff report that was prepared by Matt Williams, I believe. Scroll down to the bottom. So what it calls for is, as you can see in your packet, accessory building other than a private garage which exceeds 120 square feet of floor area. So that is why you need a conditional use permit, because it does exceed that. The criteria, as you can see, they're all marked yes. So the completed project must be consistent with the plans and the specifications submitted at the time of application and at the public hearing of the Plan Commission. The applicant shall allow the building inspector and city zoning staff to have access to the project site for inspection purposes and to verify the compliance with the city code and ordinances and state code. And the conditional use permit, if approved, shall not expire. So the staff recommendations are for approval, and it is recommended that the conditional use permit be approved with conditions as presented and forwarded to the Common Council for final approval.
Madam Alderperson, may I provide some background?
Yes, you may,
So
sir.
what happened here is my wife loves to sit outside in the summer sun, but she can't do that because the medication she takes causes her to burn like a lobster. So she said she would like a screened-in structure, which you just saw the photo of. I took Mr. Williams from City Zoning to the property, walked him around it. He said it would be perfect, no problem. Todd, just come down and pay for it. We'll give you the permit because you're within the rules. So Kim went out and talked to them about constructing the building, and then Administrator Oliphant and Mr. Williams read the ordinance together and found out that Matt had been mistaken and that that building is larger than the ordinance allows without a conditional use permit. So then we were here. And I said, this is going to be interesting because it's me. So Matt's sent letters out to the neighbors. We did a public hearing at planning. Anybody had any comments, questions? No one showed up from the neighborhood except my wife and myself. So there weren't concerns. A few of the neighbors did come to the house and say, sounds great, when's the first party in the backyard? That kind of silly stuff. And that's the only feedback we got. And this is just something so Kim can sit out in the summer without being directly exposed to the sun.
So going forward, I'm sorry.
I guess
Go ahead.
it will be used then specifically for a sitting area, not a chicken coop or anything?
Honestly,
So I'm just
that's a great, I honestly hadn't considered chickens in my backyard. This is for my wife and I to sit out in the backyard and occasionally the next door neighbor, I'm sure. That's a funny question, but probably a logical one too. No, this is just a screen-in. That structure, as you saw it, it's a roof with 4 screened walls, and any wall can be removed. You just turn the thing and take them in and out. It's to keep the sun off my wife. We're just gonna sit out there. That's a great question.
For the record, you cannot keep chickens within city limits.
Yeah, no, that's always
Yes, that was my question then.
Okay, so any other questions? Nothing else? Okay, then I will go ahead and make the motion to approve the conditional use permit for property at 481 East 8th Street for Todd and Tim Capernaum. Second? Okay, thank you, Doug. Second, I guess all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign? Okay, motion passed.
Thank you, everyone. I'll have Kim invite everyone over as soon as it's in place. Appreciate that.
That's just to keep you from drinking it next to your car in the parking
That's,
lot.
yes, that's funny. That's funny. No cover charge at Kenny's backyard, whatever we're gonna call that. Thanks, everybody. Okay. Next up, appointments to committees, commissions, boards, and confirm appointments. And we have some work to do tonight. The council will need to elect a member of the Utility Commission. Mr. Jim Heyer has resigned. He winters in Arizona, and he is more involved in some hobbies, and he said, I've done it a long time, I think 20 years? Yeah, 20 years. Excellent service, thank you, Mr. Heyer. And he said, you know what, in the best interest of himself and the city, it's time to resign, and I respect that a great deal, actually, for him coming to that conclusion on his own. So we've got some guests here tonight. In the back row, we've got Mr. Scott Saul, who of course is the president of the Utility Commission, and two people have come forward. We're lucky here. We have some great choices. More than one this time, I like that. Sarah Schultz and Scotty Wallace have both said, you know what, I think I'd like to do that. So what I'm going to do, in fairness to both of them, is give them a minute to introduce themselves a little bit, and if you have any questions, let you ask them. Mr. Wallace.
I'm Scotty Wallace. I'm an electrician around town. I used to be on city council for a couple terms. And I was actually on commission for a couple years.
While he's holding the microphone, does anyone have any questions for Mr. Wallace? Okay, thank you, Scotty. And then we have Sarah Schultz.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Schultz. I've lived in Richland Center for 40-some years. And I have zero city government experience, but when Scott Saul asks, you say yes. So I'm willing to learn. I'm happy to help. And thank you to the council for considering.
Excellent. Any questions while Sarah has the microphone?
Sorry.
Okay. I don't hear any, so thank you both for that. And again, this is the way it should go, right? We needed somebody good and two good people step forward. So what about me? We love that when that happens. Okay, so the process is this is not appointed by the mayor, this is elected by the council. So what needs to happen now is we need to take a vote. Are there any questions for either of the two interested parties? No? No?
I always talk, so no.
No, come on.
Well, I would just like to hear from both of them why they want to be on this commission.
Okay. Again, like I said, when Scott asks, I say yes. But as a citizen, it's, you know, I like being able to turn on my tap and not think twice about it. I like to be able to turn on a switch and know the light's going to go on. And I think that should continue. So, and I also feel like as a resident, I need to do my bit to contribute back. So that's why.
Well, excuse me. The last time that I was on it, I felt that I did enjoy it, and my background leads to the electrical part of it, so I have quite a bit of knowledge in that. And I felt that I was pretty helpful with that area. And say I was off just a couple years, and I'm like, I kind of miss that. I like having to be a part of something again, to help the community out, if I could help them out. And I thought it would be a good idea just throw my head back in the ring again and see if I could help the city out.
Okay, further questions or comments? Well, this will be pretty simple, Sarah and Scotty, and it's a simple roll call vote. So vote for Sarah or Scott. Okay? And we're just going to do a simple roll call, Amanda.
Tepley,
Scotty.
McCarthy,
Scott.
Schultz,
Sarah, we're not related.
Martinek,
Scotty.
Walters,
Scotty.
Downs,
Scotty.
Bird,
Sarah.
Scotty Wallace.
Okay, so Mr. Wallace has been elected to the Utility Commission. Again, two excellent candidates, and sincere gratitude to both of you for stepping up. And Sarah, don't disappear, because there are always committees, commissions, and boards. And we do need more good people, and the way you said that, do your part to help the community. Thank you for having that attitude. Don't disappear.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Mr. Wallace, you have been elected to the Utility Commission. Please recall the new guy brings the pizza. Okay. All right, next is public comment. The public is hiding in the lobby. Is there any member of the public that would like to speak tonight? Okay, no problem. I would like to thank some new folks. I don't know everybody that attended tonight, and that's actually kind of all right. Getting some new people in there. That's right. Okay. Mr. Perry, did you have any public comment? This is kind of fun. You see Mr. Perry's shirt. It's a Milwaukee Brewers t-shirt. I sat down while you discussed the project in my backyard. He pulled his phone out and showed me the score.
Still 4-1.
4-1 Brewers. Okay, there we go. Public comment from Mr. Rod Perry. Okay, next is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everyone. This meeting is adjourned.